Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and it's my honor to be here today hosting this episode of This is Floxed with Talia Smith. Today, Talia is taking the reins and she is doing the entire program herself to share her story and to answer your questions. If you have questions or comments, we will be taking them live while we're doing the show. We ask that you keep your comments to 1 or 2 per person. We can't get to all the comments today, but Talia will do her best to get back to you as she can. I'm going to bring her on the screen before I do the introduction. Let's welcome Talia to the show. Hello, Talia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So good to see you. Woo, it's a new episode. So I just want to share with people who are not following you that you are on all the major platforms and you are continuously putting out incredible top level content to help people all around the world. And what people don't realize is that you yourself are working on your healing journey and your healing process, and people are coming to you for direction and advice. And at the same time, you're trying to heal and take care of yourself. So I know that you have a special message that you want to leave with everyone today, but I just want people to understand how much you've taken on as a patient advocate to help people around the world while trying to heal and get well yourself. So I just want to honor you and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Talia, you are a patient advocate, as I mentioned. You had a very successful career. I've seen your pictures, your videos. You had a wonderful life. You're filled with energy, lifting weights and dancing and going amazing places and dressed up. And all of a sudden, you weren't feeling well. Something happens and bam, here we are today. So I'm going to turn it over to you to tell our audience your story, and we will be putting comments up as they come in. Feel free to take your time with your story.
All right. Thank you, JACALYN, for the introduction. I thought this would be a good idea because since we started the show, I've gotten a lot of questions, and People Magazine came out. I was in that and flooded with questions as well. And at this point, I figured like everybody knew my story already, like everyone's heard it, but that isn't the point. So I thought it'd be a great idea to use today to tell my story to people that haven't heard it, and to get all the questions that people have been sending to me. So with that being said, as Dr. JACALYN said, I did have a very active and healthy life prior to 2021. I had a full-time job in corporate America, very stressful, but it was a job that I loved nonetheless. I was the primary caretaker for my husband, who's a disabled veteran and a quadriplegic in a wheelchair. And I did work out 7 days a week. That was my therapy, so to speak. That was my time. And in April, I developed a urinary tract infection. And I was not someone that had recurring urinary tract infections. This is something that people usually ask me. I did not have recurring infections. I hadn't had one in at least a decade. But I think anybody, male or female, once you have one, you know what that feels like. And so I immediately called my doctor and I said, I think I have a UTI. I'm peeing every 5 minutes. And can I please have a urinalysis and a culture? because the initial reaction was just to give me an antibiotic because I was so symptomatic. But I said, no, I'd really like a urinalysis and culture. So, of course, we know how the story goes, right? It was positive, and I was prescribed ciprofloxacin. I asked my doctor before I took it because, remember, I was healthy. I never went to the doctors unless it was my yearly visit, and I was not someone that was chronically ill or even knew how to navigate the medical system before. This was like a whole flip upside down for me. And I was always cautious of medication. I didn't like to take it. So I said, is there anything I need to know about taking this medication before I take it? And, you know, every time I tell the story, this is the time my doctor should have said something to me. But instead, her response was, no, there's nothing you need to be aware of. This drug is very safe and effective, and we use it all the time at the practice. So with that being said, I began my course of treatment. I trusted my doctor. There was nothing on any label that said black box warning. I saw stuff about C. diff and beware of minerals and stay out of the sun. I'm like, okay, I trust my doctor. I started taking my prescription. And on my third pill, here's another thing that people say or ask me. I did not take 3 pills at the same time. My prescription was 500 milligrams, 1 pill, twice a day for 7 days, I think. So on my third pill, which was my second day after I took that pill, I started having entire body pain, like you have the flu, like that kind of pain. Everything hurt. But the other thing that was very strange to me was that I couldn't stand on my heels. And I said to my husband, like, this is really weird. Like, it hurts to even stand on my heels. And he said, oh, you did a lot today, cleaning the house, cooking, blah, blah, blah. But I always did that. So that was my response. I did, but I always do that. So why is today any different? And literally, as the hours progressed, so didn't my symptoms. All of a sudden, I started getting like shooting, zapping pains in my head, like I was getting electrocuted. I'm like, what is this? I started getting like numbness and tingling in my extremities, my fingers, my feet. I even started getting this like twitching thing in my face. My face was twitching. And then I started having really hard time putting any pressure on my left leg to walk. So I was limping. So I had to put my husband to bed that night in that shape, you know, trying to get him into a Hoyer lift. I can barely feel my fingers. They're tingling. But I just kept saying, like, whatever's happening, I'm going to go to bed. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be fine. And I did not take that 4th pill that night like I was supposed to, because I just felt like it had to do with that, because nothing else in my life had changed. I went to bed. I woke up, tried to get out of bed. I fell on the floor. I said, oh my God, this is worse. I can't walk. I was supposed to wake up and everything was supposed to be better, because that's usually how things worked with me. So my husband's like, you need to go to the emergency room. So off I went, and I went to the emergency room and I said, I literally cannot walk overnight. And the only thing that's been different, and this is the part that gets me every time, and I know it can't be this, is that I'm taking an antibiotic. And he turned around to me and he said, are you taking Cipro? I immediately became panicked. I felt hot. I said, oh my God. And he could tell by the look on my face. He said, don't panic, relax. And I'm like, if you're equating with me not walking with Cipro, I'm in really big trouble here. And he said, no, I see this all the time. Just go home, take ibuprofen for the inflammation and the pain, which I didn't know at the time is contraindicated when you're taking a fluoroquinolone. And go home, in 3 or 4 days you'll be better. Just rest, don't do anything. So, and that's also the day he told me what a black box warning was. How could I forget that part? Because I had never even heard of what a black box warning was. And he said the one for Cipro was for tendinitis. That's all he said to me. So I'm thinking tendinitis, Achilles heel. I didn't realize that there were 6 other black box warnings until I did my research. So I went home and I started taking ibuprofen around the clock. I was in so much pain and I was getting worse. And I'm like, why am I getting worse? He told me to stay in bed and take ibuprofen and I would get better. I'm getting worse. All my symptoms are like, they're increasing by every hour, every minute. It was like I had shooting flames coming out of my feet. my vision changed like immediately. Like the way I explain it, because everyone always asks me what my symptoms are, is when you look straight ahead, you can see like out of your peripheral. I lost my peripheral. It was like black. I couldn't see anything. And I ran and took my contacts off like, oh my God, something's wrong with my contacts. Nope, something was wrong with my eyes. My hearing changed. I started getting these twitches and spasms, like my arm would be spasming. I thought I was going crazy. Like, nobody should ever have to go through this. And at that point, unfortunately, I started becoming a frequent flyer in the hospitals. I didn't know what to do. I contacted my doctor, who said yes, she believed that it was from Cipro, but she didn't know why or how to treat it, and had never seen anyone have a reaction like that to me, like me before. When I first went to the hospitals, people did actually pay attention to me. There was one time where I lost all the feeling in one side of my whole body. They thought I was having a stroke. They checked me for MS. Everybody cared. And I remember they were saying you have peripheral neuropathy. All of a sudden you're CRP. I'm like, what's a CRP? Like, marker for inflammation is like through the roof. And I was just like, it just was one thing after another. And to go from being so healthy to all of these things happening was terrifying. And things that weren't in like one system, it was everywhere. And the more I went to the hospital, the more I went to the doctor, people started taking me less seriously. It was like, oh, she was here a week ago, here she goes again. And I feel like that's very unfair to patients that are going through something like me. And it doesn't have to be someone that took a fluoroquinolone. It's any kind of chronic illness or something that happens to you, suddenly like this. And I went home and I did my research, and I realized that there was a lot more than what was happening to me. It wasn't just about Achilles heel tendonitis. I also realized that staying in the Western medical system, I wasn't going to get any better. There was absolutely no way. And, what I've learned in the Western medical system is that if you are a female with a male doctor, your experience is completely different than when you have a female doctor. I'm sorry, it's almost 100% of the time that was the case for me. I was at the hospital begging for feeding tubes because I didn't know how else to get myself to eat. My symptoms were so rapid. It's just 1 week I was showering myself. The next I couldn't. I was sitting down. The next week I couldn't get my hands up. And the next week I couldn't shower at all. I just had to sit there while someone showered me. And, I remember it was one of my aides, my husband's aides, that was helping me, that was like, what are you going to be like in a month? I said, I don't know. Everything is so drastic and so rapid. And I'll tell you, where is it in a month? I was on hospice. But back to my story is that, I was in the hospitals, and I was having problems swallowing, like everything, you name it. I probably had it. If you Google like fluoroquinolone toxicity symptoms, I think I had every single one of them. Like, I am super floxed, unfortunately. And, I was trying to figure out, how can I eat? I'm literally choking on my own saliva. I'm going down to 60 pounds because I can't eat or drink anything. And, I remember at one hospital, which, by the way, is one of the leading teaching hospitals in the country, I went and I had a female doctor for 5 days. And she told me, on your 5th day, if you continue to lose weight, we will give you a feeding tube. So I thought, okay, there's hope on my 5th day. And every day, it was a pound after a pound after a pound. And the 5th day, the new doctor came in, who was a male. And I said, okay, today I'm getting a feeding tube because I lost weight again. I'm hungry. I can't eat. I can't even swallow. I'm choking on my own saliva. And he looked at me and he said, feeding tube? You're not getting a feeding tube. And I said, what about what Dr. So-and-so said? He said, nope, you don't need a feeding tube. I'm bringing in this new set of doctors for you to meet. They were actually psychiatrists. And I lost my mind. Like, get out of my room. This is not psychological. Like, I cannot believe you're doing this to me. I went from, having this course of action to this new doctor stepping in for the next 5 days who didn't believe me at all. And eventually he discharged me. And I said to him, you realize if you discharge me with no help, I cannot eat, I cannot drink, I'm going to die. You realize that, right? And he said, yes. And I'm very sorry. So I also went and I saw a functional medicine neurologist, and she spent hours with me. And then after this plan that she wanted to come up with to treat me, to test me for all these things, she called me and said, you know what, scratch that, scratch everything I said. You've been floxed. I said, I've been what? She said, floxed. I said, can you spell that for me so I can Google it? And I Googled it, and that's when I knew I was in serious trouble, because I wasn't looking for those words, floxed. I was looking up Cipro, and I needed the exact words, floxed and fluoroquinolone toxicity, and was mortified. I was like, there's no way this is going to happen to me. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to keep moving, like whatever it's going to take. This will not happen to me. No way. I was in total disbelief, denial. I went back to my primary care, brought her the black box warnings, and said, do you know these black box warnings exist? Do you know I wasn't supposed to be prescribed Cipro until last resort only? I had so many other options. And she looked at me right in the face, my doctor of 10 years who I trusted with my life, and said, my office is still going to prescribe Cipro. It is very safe and effective, and we have never had anyone in the office that had a reaction like you. Even though I'm showing you the documentation from the FDA, that is still your response to me. I literally felt like I had nowhere to go, and my body was stiffening up like the Tin Man. I always say this, the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. It was awful. And in a last-ditch effort, I went to yet another hospital begging for a feeding tube with my husband. I'm trying very hard not to be emotional. And we knew this was like our last effort, because we had been to so many hospitals begging for feeding tubes. I couldn't think of another way to survive without eating. And I thought if I could bypass my mouth, because I was choking on my saliva, that feeding tube would save my life. I did not understand mast cell at this point and all the other things that were happening to me. However, I thought that would be the fix for me. And in my last admission, they sent me home after telling me that they would not give me a feeding tube, but to come back in 3 weeks when my organs would start failing. Then they would be forced to give me a feeding tube. And I thought, wow, this medical system is so broken. You want me to go into organ failure before I can get any help from you? This doesn't even make any sense. So I went home on hospice, and I had an episode where I stopped breathing, and I got so scared that if that happened to me again, that I needed to have my last rites read to me. This is the way I was raised. And a priest came to my house and read me my last rites with my friends and family there. And I can tell you this. It doesn't get any lower than that. You cannot get any lower than saying goodbye to your loved ones and thinking, at least at the time I knew, as they walked out the door, that was going to be the last time I was going to see them. All because I trusted my doctor, and when I got sick, everybody abandoned me. And so there I was on hospice, and my husband, at this point in time, I could not see anymore. I couldn't even really speak. Everything if you've seen my videos before, everything was yes was a 1, 2 was a no, and he would ask me questions. He took my phone and he was on Reddit, and he found someone who was so severely floxed like me, and he begged this person to call him. And this person said, if you want your wife to survive, you better get her some mast cell drugs, because that's the only way she's going to make it. So my husband went on that path while I was on hospice. He called doctors begging them to give me mast cell stabilizers, and argued with them, and then finally said, you told me these medications are benign. Talia is dying. What does it matter at this point? Just give her the medications. And in 7 weeks after taking cromolyn sodium, just that, couple drops in water, I was eating an Ensure pudding in a week, a chocolate Ensure pudding in a week. The first thing I had eaten in 4 weeks, 1 month. That's one of the things that helped me turn my story around. And also, I've said this before, I'm not going to get too much detail because I'm just going to keep on crying, is my stepchildren came to see me and say goodbye. And that lit a fire under me to fight even harder what little amount I had, because I didn't have much. I was starving. That helped me to survive. This is the reality of being floxed and having fluoroquinolone toxicity. All of us have experienced the same thing. We've been gaslit, we've been abandoned, and we've been left to figure out how to survive on our own. And this is why I'm here sharing my story today. This is why I've become an advocate, because nobody should ever have to go through this, ever. Nine months after being on hospice, that was the most horrific time of my life, because I was in really bad shape and very close to the end. But 9 months afterwards, I ended up transferring to palliative care. I'm still on palliative care to this day because I cannot do anything by myself. I can't get in and out of bed. I can't even roll over in bed when I'm in bed. So I'm still on palliative care, and I have 24/7 care. If I didn't, I would not be here. But I think this is a moment I need to take to just explain to people watching this story what is a fluoroquinolone and what is fluoroquinolone toxicity, because I get this question so much, and people just hear the word Cipro, but there's way more fluoroquinolones than Cipro. That just happens to be the one that I took. That's a whole class of antibiotics. And so fluoroquinolones are a class of synthetic broad spectrum antibiotics. They have 7 black box warnings and the most adverse reactions of any drug on the market, any drug. And so for the people that come to me and say, I've never heard of this before, I've taken a fluoroquinolone and been fine, that's not the point. The point is that the FDA doesn't put 7 black box warnings on a class of antibiotics that they think is safe. And the guidance is that fluoroquinolones should be taken when there are no other treatment options available. That means a fluoroquinolone should be your last resort only due to permanent and disabling side effects. This is all on the FDA website. This is nothing that I'm making up or I read somewhere on Wikipedia. This is from the FDA. Last resort only due to permanent and disabling side effects. And for anybody watching, if your doctor is prescribing you a fluoroquinolone, not as last resort, they are doing you a huge disservice and may potentially be harming you. So my point in my advocacy is to let you know the dangers of these antibiotics and for you to decide yourself if it's worth taking the risk. And for me, and for a simple UTI, it was not worth taking the risk. And if I had known that before, if there had been any kind of informed consent, I would have never taken Cipro and ended up where I am today. Never. I also want to let the users know who ask the users, the viewers know that fluoroquinolones come in pill form, IV, injectables, eye drops, and ear drops. This is a question that I'm asked all the time. Is it all of those? Yes, it is. I know people that have been Floxed off of one pill, one eye drop, one ear drop. For me, it was 3. And I also know people that were Floxed 6 months after they stopped their course of treatment, or it had been the 5th time they had taken their course of treatment for a fluoroquinolone. So I just wanted to put that out there for everyone that's wondering, what is a fluoroquinolone? It's not just Cipro. Trying to think of what part of my story now to go to. My part now on being on palliative care. I've always been someone that's been very driven and impatient, to be honest. And I thought that once I got out of hospice, I was going to be smooth sailing. But that wasn't the case. I was still Floxed. I still have mast cell activation syndrome after taking Cipro. Then I thought, you know what? If I gain weight, that'll be it. Then I'll be smooth sailing. Nope, didn't happen then either. So I think what I really need to work on is setting some realistic expectations for myself, that things are going to take a lot longer than I want or that I anticipate. And I am currently in the works of starting a new protocol with a doctor with a company that I originally was with at the beginning. And then I've done lots of treatments and things in between, but I decided it was probably time to go back to the basics and stick with a company that knows mast cell as well as someone like me needs it, who is extremely sensitive and can't take many medications or supplements, and am just very reactive to everything. What else? I feel like I just said so much and told so much of my story. I am very thankful that I'm still here, but every day is a struggle. And that's why people always hear me say, until there's nothing left, because it's very hard to live like this every day. And people that see me on social media, you know, I do my videos, I give people hope, but at the end of the day, when that camera's off and I'm alone, I'm still fighting these demons that you all are fighting and having the struggles that you all are having. And so as much as I push all of you, I need to push myself too. And by the way, you all help me push myself. And I'm so thankful for the love and support that this community has showed me over the last almost 2 years. I'm grateful for every single one of you and for this opportunity to still be breathing and to be able to warn people every day about these antibiotics. And I will not stop until we get the awareness we deserve. I think I'll stop there now with my story. I know it's 11:30, so we can take some questions. Dr. JACALYN.
Wow, Talia, I had to get myself together.
I know, I'm sorry. I need to wait my
No, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, what you've been through, and the other people who are here commenting also. There have been a lot of comments. I don't know that there's a lot of questions. If anyone has specific questions, can you put them into the chat? We have been showing things as they've been popping up, but let me scroll through and see if we have any specific questions. Do you need to take a minute for some water or anything? Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay, good. Maybe you can explain to our audience. We have Tanya Turano Hotchkiss, ICD code. What is ICD code?
Right. So in March 2024, I was part of a project to request ICD-10 codes for adverse effects of fluoroquinolone antibiotics. That proposal was approved in March 2024, but not to be used until this year, October 2025. This is extremely important because right now, reporting that you have had an adverse reaction to fluoroquinolones is a self-reporting system. You have to self-report it. If you do not report that you have been harmed, you do not get included in the numbers. And so every time I hear the word rare, I think, how does anybody actually even know that? If the poor person that's floxed, that may not be able to see, that's too disabled to do it or has too much trauma, can't even report their adverse reaction to MedWatch, how do they know what the actual numbers are? I'll tell you, they don't. They don't. It's some sort of guesstimate that they're making. So that's another thing that I want to say. If anyone is experiencing adverse effects, please, if you can't do it yourself, have a loved one, a friend, anybody report this to MedWatch. It's the only way they listen to us. And you can find this information on my website at thisisfloxed.com. But back to the ICD-10 codes, these are so critical because this is the one way we will be measured without having to self-report. Even though you should still self-report when this happens, when you go in and you have an adverse reaction to a fluoroquinolone, you can be tagged with that ICD-10 code. That means you are in some sort of account and sort of record. That means treatment, diagnosis, insurance will pay when you have ICD-10 codes, usually. And that's not something we have today. My original ICD-10 code was adverse reaction to medicament or something like that. It couldn't specifically call out fluoroquinolones because one didn't exist. But in October 2025, it will exist. And there are good resources on Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Study Foundation, fq100.org. You can go to their website to see what are some things you should be doing or saying when this happens in October 2025. For me, I'm going to be making sure every single doctor that I go to knows that the ICD-10 code is available. That's what I'll be doing.
Thank you, Talia. We've got some more comments, and let's see. We do have a question from Carolyn, still stuck at 5 foods?
Unfortunately, yes. It used to be 6 foods. I actually lost one. I had a pretty significant health decline after having a bunch of MRIs and x-rays. And during that time, I did lose one of my 6 foods, so I'm at 5. Yes.
All right. Thank you for the question. Let's see. We have from Carolyn, we should discuss the similarities with fibro and how a lot of them are floxed. Grace mentioned it.
Yeah, so this is one of the unfortunate things. When you are going through the Western medical system, they don't know what to do with us. They have no clue, but yet we have to have some sort of ICD-10 code, some sort of diagnosis, right? And oftentimes, people that are floxed and suffering from fluoroquinolone toxicity syndrome, they are misdiagnosed with fibromyalgia because that also has chronic pain. There's many overlapping symptoms between fibromyalgia and being floxed. So a lot of times people are misdiagnosed with that or MS or some other things, but they actually don't have fibromyalgia. They're actually floxed. So for anybody that has taken a fluoroquinolone and has a diagnosis of fibromyalgia, you might want to reevaluate your medical situation, because some of the things you do when you have fibromyalgia and some of the treatments you really shouldn't be doing if you're floxed. So that's just a heads up to everyone there that has this diagnosis of fibromyalgia, which is a lot of people.
Thank you, Talia, and thank you for the question. We have another one from This Screaming Tree. Can you talk a little bit about the issues with lights, sounds, and sunlight and what your body is capable of for people that don't know? How are you limited to this day? What kind of support do you need?
Yeah, so one of the things when you become floxed is, for me, these things happened immediately. And, also after people are floxed, they usually get ME/CFS diagnosis. This also happens with that as well. But immediately I started getting extreme sensitive to sounds, to lights, to I to this day I still haven't used a laptop. Everything I do is on an iPad or a phone, limited. I usually am in airplane mode for most of my stuff when I'm not on social media or online. But your body, it's like your autonomic nervous system just goes into overdrive. Your immune system is in overdrive. You have been attacked. And I always say, like, your mitochondria is damaged. This is what's happened. The fluoroquinolone makes it through the blood-brain barrier and damages your mitochondria. This is extinction level event, literally impacting your whole body. And because of that, your body is constantly in flight or fight and reacting to everything. So for me, sounds, if I heard a door open and creak, like a door open like that, I would jump. It would scare me half to death, just that sound. Sounds, lights, nothing blinking, nothing too bright. The sun, if I go out in the sun, I'll be sick. That's from being floxed, being photosensitive, but it's also from having mast cell. The UVA is a mast cell degranulator, so there's a combination there. But it's something that I struggle with, being floxed, and people who have ME/CFS struggle with. We often have to be in the dark because the lights bother us too much, sounds bother us, and it's just something that you have to figure out how to deal with. Like, you use all your moments for something like this, the light, the sounds, the screens, to know that later on, now I need to recuperate and be in bed with silence, with lights off, and rest. The things that happen with your vision when you're floxed are absolutely terrifying. That you double vision, blurry vision, flashes that come out of the side of your eyes, tinnitus, like these ringing that's constantly, these things stay with you 24/7, and it's very hard to have a conversation when you hear loud ringing in your ear or even see if you have these flashes in your eyes. So I hope that answered the question. It's just that for me, I have to use all of it, as they say, my spoons, right? I have to use all my spoons for these interviews and then recuperate for the rest of the day.
Thank you, Talia. We've got a number of comments. Thank you, everyone. We're not going to be able to get to all of them. Here's a comment from Grace. Many veterans were floxed in the service.
That's right, because they took Cipro prophylactically for anthrax. So yes. You hear the Gulf War syndrome and all of that stuff. Yes.
And here's another comment from Grace. I'm starting to believe it hits our spine and central nervous system.
Well, the FDA actually does say it hits our central nervous system. So that's definitely for sure. But it's also like our vagus nerve. Those are all nerves, and connected to our spine. And I think most people that are floxed have severe back pain. I know I do. It feels like my back is splitting in half pretty much every day. We have severe back pain, neck pain. If you ask any floxy, I guarantee you they have some sort of neck pain or back pain. Maybe it's on one side, whatever it is. We also get diagnosed with cervical cranial instability, CCI. Like I said, this is just something that literally shuts our whole bodies down. And it says, people always say your body will do what it can to survive. It's always going to fight to survive. I do actually believe that, because I don't think I would be here otherwise. But in the same token, when your body is damaged and trying to correct itself. This is why we take so long to heal. We have damaged mitochondria that's just creating more damaged mitochondria. And yet your body is trying so hard to survive, but it doesn't have the tools that it needs. And this is why we stay sick for so long.
Talia, thank you so much. I really appreciate how courageous and brave you are. And I know you're going to heal. What is your life going to look like when you're on the other side of this in the near future?
Well, I'm going to say my message of hope too. I have to end everything with my message of hope. This is my message of hope. Is that someday I will get through this. And for everyone that's newly floxed and watching this and seeing my story, to know that just because I'm this floxed doesn't mean that you'll end up this floxed. I am like on a whole other level. But to the people that are as sick as me, if I can get past this, you can too. My telling my story is never like my suffering is more than yours. It's to say, if I can do this, so can you. And when I get on the other side, I'm still going to be advocating for this, even if I'm healthy, even if I'm running again someday in my wildest dreams. I wish that could be the case. I hope that I am able to eat like I could before, not pureed food, more than 6 foods. And that I will be able to have somewhat of a normal life. I think all of us are wanting that. No more holidays being spent alone while everybody else celebrates. No more being left out. I just want to be normal again. That's what I want to see. And it maybe my new normal isn't what it was before, but it's not this. It's not this. Stuck in a hospital bed with 24/7 care. And I'm going to do everything in my power. I think you all know that, and fight tooth and nail until I come out on the other side. I've gotten this far. I have to keep going. And for all of you watching that are thinking the same thing when you go to bed at night and you think, oh my God, how am I going to make it another day? Just go to sleep and wake up, and you will. And you start again and again and again and again, because eventually it does change.
Talia, thank you. Thank you, everyone. There's so many comments. I can't wait for you to see them. There's so much support here. It's beautiful. You have an incredible community. For people who want more information, we are going to share your website. The website is thisisfloxed.com. Here it is. Where would you like people to go on your website?
Well, I have a ton of information about what fluoroquinolone toxicity is. So if you go under resources, you're going to find information about fluoroquinolone toxicity. You'll see like helpful websites, helpful books, doctors and practitioners that I recommend. One of the other things I would suggest to go to is there's a spot under here that says I'm sorry, I'll wait for you to click through. But you can see, yeah, the practitioners. There's something here that says take action. Report, and here you can report your adverse reaction to MedWatch. And number 2, which I just want to call out, which is huge, is informed consent petition. Everybody out there that's floxed, that has family members that's floxed, that hasn't signed this petition before, please sign this petition. Please share it with everybody you know so other people don't end up like us. So there's a little blurb about what it is, and then down below I think it says like sign. That's all you have to do is click and sign. It's totally free, and we need to make sure that people are aware of this dangerous class of antibiotics so they are informed and can make a healthcare decision for themselves. No more blindly trusting doctors and just doing what they say. This is not the medical system that we live in today. That may have been the case years ago, but it isn't anymore. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to be our own doctors and our own advocates. And this is one of the ways that we can make that happen.
There you go. Thank you very much, Talia. And you're also on social media. And your preferred platforms are here. So let's just go to Instagram. And we would love for everyone who's watching, whether it's now on the live or on the replay, to connect with Talia here on Instagram, as well as TikTok, Facebook. All of the social media platforms are available for you to just click from the website. There we go. Talia, what are your thoughts about the information you're sharing on social media? You have a lot of incredible content here, and you've got a huge following on TikTok. How does being on social media help or hinder your healing ability?
I actually think it does both, to different extents. So my point on being on social media is to share my story, as raw as it is. When me and my husband discussed me going on social media, we both said you're either all in or you're out. You can't half tell a story. You can't sugarcoat anything. You want people to see the reality of what this has done to you and millions of others that are suffering from this. So I post videos of what I was like before and after. I post videos of just I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, happy, sad. That's life. That's life when you have any chronic illness too, not just being Floxed. So I just want to be as real as possible out there in social media. And, with that comes a lot of, mostly it's positive, but there is also some extremely negative feedback and pushback, and people say very cruel things to me, mean things. They send me, direct messages saying things that I won't even repeat on social media. It's so horrible. But I just have to have a thick skin and know that those people they're just a waste of my time. And I need to focus on my mission. And that is making sure that I raise awareness. And I think that in one case, this is helping me heal, right? It's helping me process this, deal with my anger, help other people. So I feel like in one respect, it's healing. And in the other respect, it definitely hinders me because it makes me exhausted. Those comments, as much as I ignore them, they aggravate me. And I think that when you're in this type of situation, any kind of aggravation or stress definitely makes things worse. So that's just something that I try to deal with. But it takes a lot. People are always emailing me and asking for help, and I get back to every single person. If you're watching, I've gotten back to you. It may take me a little while, but I do. But that takes time, and that takes my energy. And so in that regard, I think it is helping. And in the same time, it also hinders me. And I'm trying to figure out what that correct balance is yet, because I don't think I figured it out yet. I feel like I'd much rather be helping people. It's not conscious that I do it, but I'm like, hey, I need to take a step back and rest. But then I see somebody and I want to go out and help them again. I'm like, pull myself back. So this is something that I need to work on a bit, but it does both, to answer your question.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes. And as someone who is always on social media, I know myself, it is exhausting and it takes a lot of work. People don't realize to do the videos that you're doing and to post them. And you don't just post to one platform, it's multiple platforms and the hashtags. And it really is very tiring. And you're doing an exceptional job because you understand the algorithm and you're getting out to so many people. So for those who are out there who believe they have been Floxed, and to your point, Talia, it doesn't have to be on a fluoroquinolone drug. It could be something else. You mentioned flashing lights. I see flashing lights all the time in this one eye, and I've been to 2 hospitals, and basically I'm thinking maybe it's from one of the drugs I'm taking for ulcerative colitis. So the point is, we don't know. But we have to be our own best advocate, as you mentioned. So I hope that people will take that to heart and realize that nobody will work harder for you than you. So don't just blindly accept whatever the information is. Do a lot of research, speak to numerous people. And this community that you've built, I hope that the people who are here commenting with one another, I hope they'll connect if they haven't connected yet, because I think that's what this is all about, is standing together and sharing education.
Yeah, and I think it's very important that people trust themselves and believe in themselves. You know your body and yourself better than anybody else. So when you go in and you're getting gaslit and someone's trying to make you feel crazy, you cannot let that in. That is just going to deter you, deter your healing journey. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first got sick. Is I was very good at not letting people in because I was so sure of what had happened to me. You don't go overnight from being able to walk to not, and the only thing that had changed was that medication. I was so sure in that fact, but I was so stuck in the Western medical system that I was always going to the doctors, and I was wanting, can you believe I'm saying this? I was wanting a diagnosis, some label to be put on me so that people would pay attention and care. When I say people, I mean doctors. Pay attention and care and treat me for something other than send me home to die. But the reality of it is that I didn't have anything other than being floxed. So if you're one of those people that are out there and putting yourself through the ringer just because you want someone to listen to you, like the same way that I did, don't do it. It just wastes your time and energy, and it makes you sicker. I mean, obviously go to the doctor for things that you need to, but if you're out there searching for something to be tagged to you when you know that you've been floxed, don't do it. Just go down this path, know that you've been floxed. We have a huge community, online resources, so many advocates. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to fight for yourself. But there are some doctors out there that can help. So you're not completely alone. Are you a lot more alone in this situation than if you were in the Western medical system? Yeah, but it's probably better off that way. And I learned that the hard way, because every time I went to a Western medicine doctor and continued to put my trust in them after what had been done to me, I just got worse. I kept being given medication that was making me worse, that was contraindicated to my situation. And I don't want that to happen to anybody else out there. So trust your gut. And don't anyone ever make you think otherwise. You're not crazy. Did you hear me? You're not crazy. That one really gets me.
Excellent points. Be your own advocate. Follow your own intuition, because your intuition will not let you down. I know I didn't listen to mine until, I guess, a few years ago, and especially when it comes to health. Make your own decisions based on the information that you have or what others are sharing. We do have some final comments before we close out. Kathy here, online community support keeps us going.
Yes, it does.
Carolyn replying to Kathy, yes, we do have wonderful support. And the Screaming Tree, I learned the hard way also. Also, Talia, we do have a link here for the playlist on YouTube for all of your shows. This is Floxed. So for anyone who wants to see the other two shows before this and the ones coming out afterwards, you can go here and you can find all the episodes there.
Okay, that's great.
All right. I was just going to say, if there are any final questions, if anyone has anything they'd like to have answered, please do put it in the chat right now. That would be terrific. And Talia, how would you like to close out the show today? Do you have another call to action in addition to signing the petition, or is there anything else you'd like to share with hope and inspiration?
Well, my call to action is definitely the petition. And I can't stress this enough that we might actually have a chance in making this happen. So please, I'm begging everybody out there to please sign and share this petition. There are so many people out there, and it just doesn't reflect the numbers that we have for this petition. That's the first thing. The second thing, everybody report your reactions to MedWatch. And then the last thing is keep telling your stories. Share your stories with the world. That's the only way anyone is ever going to listen and pay attention. And I can tell you that from experience, because now that I'm on social media and people are seeing my story, they're saying, oh, that was me too, or this is my brother or my sister, and now everybody's joining in the conversation. So share your stories. That is very, very important. And And when you think that you can't do it and you can't take it another minute because this is too hard and too painful, just keep going. You can, I promise. I promise. This community is one of the reasons why I'm still going. And you've seen the comments that Dr. JACALYN has listed. We are the only ones that truly understand each other. Take advantage of the community. If your friends and loved ones don't understand what you're going through, whatever you need to get through to survive, do it and do not feel guilty. Don't think twice about it.
Thank you, Talia. We do have on the screen the actual link that will take you right to being able to sign this petition. So please do note it and go there. We have some additional comments. Zanta, nice to have you with us. Thank you for all you do for FQ awareness. Proud to wear the campaign t-shirts, to share and sign the petition, to share your videos, etc. Big hugs and lots of love to you.
Thank you.
And Carolyn, until there's nothing left.
You can see that's prevalent in the community now. This is what we say every day to get ourselves through it. This is my dad, Dr. JACALYN. Mike Medeiros is my dad.
Oh, it makes me cry. Hi, Dad.
Love you,
Good
Dad.
to have you with us.
Thank you for everything.
Talia, you are just such an incredibly beautiful person inside and out, and I really admire you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. And I know this took a lot of energy for you to do this, but you are doing all the right things to bring education and awareness. And that's what we do here on this platform. We just want people to be able to share their stories. And I'm so grateful that you're here sharing yours. And I'm looking forward to the other side of this when you share your story of your wellness.
Thank you. Thank you everything you've done for me too, Dr. JACALYN. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll see you again soon. I'll be in touch. Bye for now. Well, folks, this is live television, so I am just so grateful for Talia being part of our community and for the incredible strength that she has to share her story, because I know as a person who is broadcasting on a regular basis, it is not easy to do, especially when you don't feel well. And the show must go on, as they say. So regardless of how she's feeling this last hour, she made a commitment to be here and she rose to the occasion. So please do honor her and support her by reaching out privately after the show is over. Please do leave another comment here if you would. And if you would like to share your story or be a guest on this show, please do reach out to Talia. She will be able to inform you of what the process is. We'd love to have you and welcome you to our community here. So we're going to sign off. With that being said, I do want to ask if you would be interested in subscribing to our channel. We just received the Silver YouTube Creator Award for passing 100,000 subscribers. So thank you to each and every one of you. You can just scan that QR code that's there at the bottom. And again, my heart is full and I'm grateful for the ability to be here today, to have Talia here. And we look forward to having her back again next month. So we're going to go over to our sponsors, but I just want to encourage you to believe in yourself and to not take whatever information people give you. I am also a patient with ulcerative colitis for 35 years. And I just told Talia before the show, I have a new medication that is actually $6,700 per month. My insurance company did not approve it. I'm on some free plan. And I just was, after what Talia's gone through, I do not want to take it because of the side effects or flashing lights. I already have flashing lights from probably another medicine for ulcerative colitis. So I made the decision not to take it. So the gastroenterologist community is not happy with me, but I'm doing what I think is best for me. And I encourage you to do what's best for you. Get the medical help and then make a decision for yourself of what makes the most sense. All right. Thank you again for being here. We're going to sign off now and we'll be back with our next show. Bye.
In a world craving connection, one platform dared to dream bigger. USA Global TV and Radio, a beacon for global voices, authentic storytelling, and elevated listening. Led by visionary Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the journey from a spark to a global force is now captured in one inspiring book. Honored with YouTube's Silver Creator Award for surpassing 100,000 subscribers. Discover the evolution, the challenges, the triumphs, and the unstoppable spirit that created a global movement. Executive producer Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang. Creative director Paul Garcia. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Now an Amazon #1 new release in paperback and ebook. Broadcasting Brilliance, the evolution of USA Global TV and Radio, is inspiring readers around the world. Join the movement that's redefining global media one story at a time.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Talia Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the listening mentor, this 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Steve Klein Art at steveklein.art.
My name is Steve Klein, born Manchester, England, 1953. My quest in my lifetime is to create artwork from my soul and the deepness within my wildest dreams and fantasies. In 2012, my heart stopped when I was given too much anesthetic for a minor knee operation, and this near-death experience took me to another multidimensional world, an out-of-body experience, and I was given the gift of being blessed by an overwhelming, burning passion to become, for the very first time in my life, an artist with an eternal, passionate desire to bring my art, which I've named multidimensional, subliminal, freeform art, to the world, as only 3% recover from what I experienced, and now in my golden years want to release my cosmic, vital energy through my art to allow people to be a part of my cosmic dance.
To learn more, email roccogoodwine@gmail.com. For VIP pricing, mention USA Global TV and Radio.
Ever dreamed of hosting your own TV show, sharing your story with a global audience? Now's your chance to shine. At USA Global TV and Radio, we make it easy for you to create, host, and broadcast your very own TV show. Whether you're a storyteller, entrepreneur, or industry expert, we help you bring your vision to life. With our exclusive interview, live streaming and podcasting training, you'll gain the skills and confidence to captivate your audience. Our global platform ensures your voice is heard worldwide. Join our community of creators who are already making an impact, one show at a time. Step into the spotlight. Host your own TV show on USA Global TV and Radio. Book your discovery call today at usaglobaltv.com. Copyright 2025 USA Global TV and Radio. All rights reserved. Terms and conditions apply. To learn more, visit usaglobaltv.com. Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. KERBECK also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacalyn.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. JACALYN KERBECK is the listening mentor. Start your journey today. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting. We're building bridges and changing lives, one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.